So, Palworld. It's something. This little indie game that could soared to 2 million players days after launch. And I'm not surprised. Its trailer showed this vast, beautiful world, looking like the open world Pokemon game we wanted Scarlet and Violet to be. And then out of nowhere, he's got a gun! It's a wild, provocative take on something very familiar. And I think a lot of folks picked up Palworld out of sheer curiosity. And what they found was much more than just Pokemon with guns. Brought to us by the developer Pocket Bear, which is the most innuendo you can shove into a two-word video game company name, Palworld revolves around exploring an island you arrived at via mysterious circumstances. You go about solving said island's said mysteries, along with some bad guy thwarting along the way. But what separates Palworld from other games with this fairly common, borderline generic premise is its mix of creature capturing mechanics and base building. But it's the way it combines these two ideas that we're here to talk about today. Yeah, it's Ark Survival meets Breath of the Wild meets Minecraft meets Pokemon meets gun. But I'm here to call it something I haven't heard anyone else call it yet. A billionaire simulator. Hey everybody, I'm Binkle Monkey, and today we're looking at that weird spot where Palworld and capitalism meet, and the horrifying picture it paints for all of our futures. Sounds fun, right? For those who haven't buddied up to the pals yet, here's an overview. You wash up on the Palpagos Islands, and yes, my character is Blanca from Street Fighter with a sweet little face. And the first order of business is to build some shelter. So, we get to punching trees.
You punch the trees to get the wood. You get the wood to build the cabin.
Punch some trees, you punch some rocks, you craft yourself a base and some fire so you don't freeze to death. All the while, these happy little barnyard critters will be running around, living their lives, minding their own business, but eventually, you're gonna get hungry. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Oh shit, were those berry plants there the whole time? Give me your lamb chop, lamb ball. This feels bad. Pokemon never let us attack the Pokemon ourselves, and now we're out here throwing hands like that bully fish from SpongeBob. And it doesn't feel any better with a bat, crossbow, or an actual honest-to-God gun. But what makes Palworld stick out from all the other survival games isn't that they made your source of food these cute little meatballs, it's that the cute little meatballs can be a source of labor. Once you craft some Pal Spheres, seriously, this is what we're calling these, you can capture, definitely not catch, these little fellas, and use them as your muscle for when bigger, nastier pals attack. The Pokemon comparisons are blatant, but you have your pick of videos covering that topic. We're more interested in what happens when you take your pals out of their spheres and put them to work in your base. Because this changes everything. Different pals have different traits. Lamball, for example, is able to help with basic crafting, basic transporting, and if left to graze in a ranch, they'll drop you some wool. Like, everywhere. It's a goddamn mess. But you can't be too upset. You, tragically, don't make your own wool. So this mighty mutton monster's mess is actually a useful blessing. Especially if you ever want to make some armor. But the world doesn't run on wool alone. You need wood, stone, pal fluids. Seriously, we're just gonna go with that? We're just gonna call it pal fluids? It's a lot of work to gather all these base building blocks on your own. So, you go capture yourself a pal who knows how to cut down trees. Another pal that can mine for you, and one that makes fluids. Okay, there's actually no way to farm for fluids, but you still need one to water any crops you're growing to keep yourself and your worker pals from going hungry. Sounds like everyone's on the same team at this point, right? We all work, we all get food, we all have a place to sleep. It sounds downright comfy. Maybe you even build some furniture around the base to hang out in. If only you could sit in any of it. Seriously, Pocket Pear, next patch, let us sit in the chairs. But progress cannot be slowed. Eventually, you'll want to make something out of metal. I mean, how you gonna have Pokemon with guns if you can't make guns? Unfortunately, all the pals around the starting area lack the skill to mine the ore necessary for metal, and unless you want to be on the hook for all the ore mining, you're going to have to find a bigger, better pal with level 2 mining. You're also going to need a fire pal to smelt that ore into ingots, and if you're like most people, that first base you build near the starting point of the game isn't close to that many ore deposits. So you can either hike over to a spot with ore and schlep it back home to refine it, or you could set up a second base right on top of a bunch of ore, which never runs out. The rocks and metals just grow back, just like in real life, right? Infinite resources mean infinite growth. Now you've got your miners mining, and your ores getting refined, and new better stuff is getting made, like monkey assault rifles. Donkey was right. This is super disappointing. Know what else is disappointing? How slow Fox Sparks is making ingots. You've got all these mining buddies pumping out way more ore than they can keep up with. Doesn't he know you've got nails to make? I guess you could build another furnace and then just put another fire pal in the base, thus doubling the output. But that takes up another one of the very limited number of pals you can have working in your base. And then you've got 2 people doing the same job, taking up 2 beds, and eating double the food. Or I could go get this bigger, nastier fire pal with level 2 kindling, feed them the same, and get twice the output with 1 pal. Into the box you go, Fox Sparks. Thank you for your service. And it's pretty sad when you outgrow your little friends. Pals don't evolve, they just are what they are. And yes, you can grind up copies of their fellow species to make them stronger, a la the candy system in Pokemon Go, but their skill levels don't increase. So unless you're using them in battle, they're not really getting any better. So during the editing process of this video, I did a little more research, and I read that if you condense 128 of the same pal into one, it will level up their base abilities 1 level. So if you did that to Fox Sparks, it would go from a level 1 kindling to a level 2, which is not a very big jump compared to level 5 crazy big scary pals. So I was technically wrong, but not completely wrong. So your best course of action is to just not get attached to any of your workers. They're all just temporary, and they will soon be replaced by someone better. And so the process goes. With every new level you gain, the exciting new stuff you can make gets more involved. And the more involved stuff gets, the better the pals you're gonna need to make said new stuff. So you gotta adventure further from home to find the best pals. But the best pals are harder to capture, so you gotta make better pal spheres with higher capture rates. And that's how you get pals that can make circuit boards. And how are you gonna build a fridge for all the pal meat you've been collecting if the pals don't make you some circuit boards? So this continues until you have the most efficient pals working on the most efficient machines to make every ridiculous thing you could want as efficiently as possible. And once your pals have built that piano on the roof for you, you've truly mastered the game. But Binkle Monkey, where's the capitalism? You've been talking about gameplay loop for
7 minutes and 50 seconds.
Give us the capitalism. Well then, perhaps it's time I shift gears into business mode. Alright, capitalism, the game that we're all required to play. You work to get paid, to buy stuff, to own stuff. You might not see it as a game, but there are definitely some folks out there that do. You got your Zuckerbergs, your Bezos, the Musk. If you get to that absurd level of wealth, it's not hard to see money making as some sort of a game. But by that logic, there's got to be some sort of gameplay loop that's led to all their success, right? Unfortunately, there's no GameFAQs walkthrough for being a billionaire. But I can still take a crack at what it probably looks like. So let's say, hypothetically, you're, I don't know, a small bookseller selling books online out of your garage. In the beginning, it's really easy to gather up all those books, handle the small number of orders, and get them ready to ship all by yourself. Psh, no problem. But eventually, it becomes nearly impossible to keep up with the demand. So, you make your first hire to help you out with some of the lesser skilled labor. Having this extra set of hands really drives up productivity. So now you can sell more books faster. And with that added income, you can hire more workers to keep up with the growing demand. And then hire more workers. And even more. Eventually, you start hiring workers to do more of the big brain work. This frees you up to think big picture and look ahead for the future of the company. That's when you realize you're ready for the big time now. Why just sell books when you can sell everything? But selling lots of things requires lots of different materials, new processes, new equipment, and staff to run them. And those old workers, they don't seem to be keeping up with the new technology. Their skills just aren't as useful as they used to be. So it's time to let them go and replace them with new workers. Workers who are more eager, more skilled, and willing to work for the same pay as your former employees. But some of these new employees, they're a little big for their britches. They complain about working conditions and start slacking off on the job. This is not good for productivity. You have to do something. You could invest back into your workers, provide them with better pay and benefits to keep them happy, so they in turn keep working hard for your company because it's taking care of them. Or you can replace them. Replacing is cheaper. This might spook the rest of your workers though, having realized that they too can be replaced really easily. So you should do something nice for them. Show them that you care. Throw them a pizza party. Everybody loves pizza. But at the same time, the cost of those little perks you've been providing to your team have started to add up. You could easily boost those profit margins by, just getting rid of breaks. This can only drive productivity up, right? And if the workers don't like it, I don't know, try more pizza parties. And if that doesn't work, replace them. What are they gonna do? Band together and demand change through collective bargaining? This is your company town, where your employees live and work for you. You want a toilet on the roof? They're gonna build it for you. And if they won't, well, you'll replace them with someone who will. And then just rinse and repeat until you're a billionaire. This, in my opinion, is the secret sauce that's not getting talked about nearly enough in Palworld. It's not the Pokemon stuff or the base building or the exploration. It's the sum of all of its weird disjointed parts that equal an opportunity for millennials and Gen Z to finally do something that they have never had a chance to do. Win at capitalism. Because let's be real here. In the grand scheme of things, when it comes to what most of us are doing with our lives, we aren't the human character capturing / hiring pals / workers. We aren't building empires on the backs of the working class. We are the lamb balls, working our tails off to make someone else a lot of money. We're all just woolly little cogs in a much larger machine. But in Palworld, look, you're your own boss. And a whole bunch of weird little animals bosses too. You're a homeowner, and you can build your home just the way you want it. You might not be able to sit on the couch, but hey, that's the couch you picked. That expression we've all heard, you can do anything if you just work hard enough, is actually true in Palworld. And all it takes is a little elbow grease, a warehouse filled with assembly lines and furnaces, an endless supply of natural resources, and the exploitation of Depresso over here. And all of your dreams can finally come true. What a time to be alive. But that's just the present. What about the future? Maybe Palworld has some sort of insight into what comes next for us in this crazy game of life and capitalism we're all playing. Well, the meta of this game revolves around breeding your pals to create a pal with perfect traits. Why settle for a Jormuntide Ignis that can make a pal metal ignite in 10 seconds when you could have one that makes it in 7? Is this the Billionaire class's next move? Breeding us to be perfect employees? And what happens to all the people who aren't the best workers? Oh god, this is a dark, horrifying future you've dreamed up, Pocket Pear. No, I don't want to go into your breeding machine, Elon Musk. We gotta tell somebody. We gotta let the world know. Wake up, sheeple! Thanks for watching. Do you think Palworld is a glimpse into our dystopian future? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, join the Patreon, all the YouTube stuff our corporate overlords want me to tell you to do. Also, please remember this was all in good fun. I don't think Elon Musk wants to shove you in a breeding machine. This was all just for a good laugh, alright? Thank you again, and have a good one. Okay, I made it sound like a joke. Are you happy now? Good. Now get out of here, Elon. No, I don't have Twitter. I'm not calling it X. No one's calling it X. Yes, I saw your cameo in Iron Man 2. Very nice. Go away.